Virginia, police officer gets caught slamming, violating, harassing, assaulting an unarmed woman, has now resigned. I'm going to take you to the video, give you the update.
Get out of the car!
Look, he pulling a gun. This for the...
Get that on video! Get out of the car! She took off on me! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Go yourself! Get out of the car!
Look, Father God, you dispel this evil in Jesus' name!
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! I am a law enforcement officer. Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Go f yourself. You don't know. Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
Assaulted me?
Get out of the car!
No, you assaulted me. I know my rights. You assaulted me. You screamed at me. Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! This man is... Help me! Help me! Help me!
Give me your other hand.
No!
Give me your other hand.
Stop it! Mom, get my phone. This man is hurting me. He's assaulting me. He wouldn't show me his badge. He would not show me his badge. He pointed a gun at me.
It's evil, Beth. You got to deal with it spiritually.
You are crazy?
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Now you may be wondering, she must have done something significant in order for this officer to pursue, pull out his gun, which is a threat to kill, and then proceed to break the window, body slam her, etc. At least you assume there's a felony that he believes has occurred. Put up the picture full mask. None of that would be true. Alleged expired registration was the crime. Police Chief Nathan Lanham then smashed the woman's car windows. You heard me, the police chief. Smashed the woman's car windows with a sledgehammer, prompting her to escape from the other side, the passenger's side door, resulting in the police chief body slamming and arresting her. He decided to put felony charges on her at that point. The chief's aggressive actions, which were caught on video, thankfully, have now led to his resignation from the police department, and all charges were dismissed against Sarah Beth DeLoma. Ms. DeLoma had a hell of a day that day, but only after she spent 5 days in jail because of the chief of police. Quote, he would have certainly been terminated if he had not tenured his resignation to the town. Ryan Umina, an attorney for Monongah, told WDTV. The incident took place on August 1st after the chief pulled over the 49-year-old woman for an expired registration, no visible inspection sticker, okay? DeLoma said she pulled right over, but the chief refused to show her his badge or identify himself, which made her believe he may not be a real cop. Quote, she feared for her life, attorney Joe Schaffer told WV News. Quote, she thought he was impersonating a police officer. This is an intelligent woman who's aware of cases across the country of people faking being a police officer. She asked for ID, for his badge, but she said the chief only increased his aggression after being asked to identify himself. Now, let's understand the context. She's not asking for a supervisor. She's not asking for validation of work credentials. She's asking for the thing that you're issued after you take your oath, a badge that says you are post-certified police. That's it. It seems quite reasonable, especially given the stories that are real across this country. We've reported on some of those stories right here on Indisputable. So she requested it. He may have been offended by the request. How dare you ask him for his badge? He's not the police. He's the chief of police. You don't know me? How does it get to this point? So the woman, afraid, she doesn't have any other underlying crimes. She's not trafficking narcotics. She doesn't have some active warrant for her arrest in another jurisdiction. She was literally afraid of the chief. There's more. So the chief said that DeLoma then drove away after he told her he was going to tow her car, accusing her in court documents of operating the vehicle in a manner, quote, a manner showing reckless indifference to the safety of others. By traveling fast down a narrow road in a residential area with children and elderly, driving in a residential yard. That's according to WDTV. The police chief said she drove away a second time after that, quote, going around the house and cutting through a backyard. So he headed in the opposite direction to cut her off. Now, once again, state of mind is important. State of mind is important. If the state of mind is this individual is impersonating the police, he has a gun, I've seen it. He refuses to let me know who he is by way of simple identification. She's trying to escape. So her state of mind is trying to get away from somebody attempting to harm me. There's more. That is when he said he decided to use the sledgehammer. Chief Lanham said he exited his vehicle, continued to, quote, give lawful orders to exit the vehicle. And I told her she was under arrest. He says DeLoma fled again, going around the house and cutting through a backyard. So he traveled the opposite direction down Shaver Street to head her vehicle off. But Marion County prosecuting attorney Jeff Freeman filed a motion on Monday saying that, quote, the facts in the complaint do not support the charge of fleeing in a motor vehicle with reckless indifference to the safety of others. One of the elements that must be proven is malicious intent, mens rea. You were intentionally committing an act that was criminal. But if your state of mind is you're trying to get away from a criminal, that formation doesn't exist. The police, they know this. There's more. DeLoma said she was driving when she spotted a white vehicle quickly approaching her from behind. Now, this part is important. It was a white car speeding, catching up from behind, which she did not know was a police vehicle until it turned on its red and blue emergency lights to pull her over. Makes sense. Why? Because the chief doesn't ride around in a regular police car. Okay. Then she said, Lanham, the chief, approached her car wearing khakis, a black shirt, and a pistol strapped to his thigh, which was when she requested, can I at least see a badge for identification? When the chief demanded her documents instead. Now, yeah, this is a woman by herself, an aggressive white male who's obviously armed, not wearing police attire. Your car looks suspect. You got lights, but nothing else. Can I see a badge? Everything here is quite reasonable of the woman's request. But she's dealing with an unreasonable, power-hungry maniac who took offense to a protocol he issued in his own office to show your badge. There's more. DeLoma told him they were at her house, which was 30 yards away, okay? That's when he still decided to order her out of the car to have it towed 30 yards away from the home. He wants the car towed. Get out the effing car. The chief yells at her while pointing his pistol toward her as she sits in the driver's seat. A man witnessing the scene from out of the video frame yells at the chief to watch his language, only for the chief to tell him, "Go F yourself." The chief also tells DeLoma to go F yourself. "You don't know ish. Get out of the car." He eventually walks back to his patrol car. He has a sledgehammer conveniently in his patrol car. He gets the sledgehammer, uses it to shatter the driver's side window. After busting her window out, DeLoma tries to escape from the passenger side door. We saw that in the footage. But the chief runs around the car, grabs her around the neck, slams her to the ground, where he plants his body weight on her, handcuffing her. She yells, "Help me, help me," okay? Alleged expired registration. She ended up spending 5 days in jail on a felony charge of fleeing in a vehicle with reckless indifference to the safety of others. Prosecutor said that was a damn lie. But after watching the viral video, Marion County Prosecutor Jeff Freeman announced, "I'm not pursuing felony charges against Mr. DeLoma. That's not happening." Magistrate Judge Brian Shuck agreed with the prosecutor's assessment after reviewing the evidence. Magistrate Brian Shuck agreed with the assessment of the incident, dismissed the charge. The mayor, John Palmer, then announced the chief's departure on Facebook, saying, quote, "Effective Tuesday, August 6, 2024. Officer, not chief, Officer Nathan Lanham is no longer employed by the town of Monongah." Schaefer says he plans on filing a lawsuit and is seeking to speak to the citizens, get this, who may have had negative experiences with the former chief in the town of approximately 1,000 people. Quote, "We plan to proceed with a civil case against Chief Lanham and the town," Schaefer said, "and I'll be speaking with other people who have said they have had encounters with him as well." There you go. So she wasn't really the thing that got him fired or allowed to resign. She was the last thing, okay? So there's this tapestry that the attorney, the civil attorney has already hinted at that exists in a town of only 1,000 people. In a town of 1,000 people, news is going to travel pretty fast. But the reality is this, for some reason, we continue to see this permeate inside of the industry of policing without it being checked. There's a psychological issue here, right? So the vast majority of responsible police departments will make you take a psychological examination when you enter into the police force after your training, right? But then there's no programmatic measure to routinely evaluate the mind state of that cop afterwards. Now, if you kill somebody, yes. If you keep violating the rights of citizens, they may order you to do so. But outside of that, it's not programmatic, which is bad for policing and bad for the community. Let me tell you why. The cop you hire on day one will not be the same cop on day 365. And you need to know what has changed. Because all of us change with 3 E's: experiences, exposures, and environment. You cannot get away from it. And so we have to track these things. The reason why it's good for policing is because if there is something there that has manifest in your profession that you did not think would, you need help. You need training. You need some level of psychological evaluation and remedy. If the community is in danger because the psychological evaluation says so, well, there's a remedy for that as well. You cannot work at this police department until or unless there's a significant change here and there's an approval through that department. It's really a sham. Police departments will brag about how they do psychological evaluations on every recruit before they become a police officer. And they will highlight this in their proclamation of reform. Ask the follow-up question. Here's the follow-up question. Out of those recruits that make it through your training camp, and then they take the psychological evaluation and they're sworn in after that, how many of them fail? And you will see that 0% of them fail. There is no psychological exam given to random individuals in this country where 0% will fail, except when the fix is in.